Tonight on Connecticut's news station, new details in the historic indictment of former President Donald Trump, what prosecutors are accusing him of, and reaction here in our state.
The smoke is gone, thunderstorms are ending, and a warmer weekend is ahead. How long the warmth lasts ahead.
And as the Canadian wildfire smoke keeps leaving the state of Connecticut, find out how you can protect yourself when enjoying the outdoors this weekend.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we begin tonight with the historic federal indictment of former President Donald Trump. Good evening, I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here at 10 tonight. We're getting a closer look at how prosecutors say the former president improperly stored classified documents and asked his lawyers to help him hide those records from investigators. The former president faces 37 felony counts in the case, including 31 accusing him of the willful retention of national defense information. The indictment says that more than 100 classified documents were found at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. They include information on the country's nuclear program, military vulnerabilities of the U.S. and our allies, and plans for possible retaliation to a foreign attack. The indictment also accuses Trump of suggesting the classified documents be hidden or destroyed. Prosecutors claim that Trump stored the documents in spaces throughout Mar-a-Lago, including a bathroom, his bedroom, and his office space. Special counsel Jack Smith spoke about the indictment earlier today.
The prosecutors in my office are among the most talented and experienced in the Department of Justice. They have investigated this case hewing to the highest ethical standards, and they will continue to do so as this case proceeds.
Former President Trump maintained his innocence in a video he posted on Truth Social and repeated his baseless claims that the investigation is politically motivated. This marks the first time a former president has been federally indicted. And new at 10 tonight, we are hearing from Republicans and Democrats here in Connecticut after the indictment of former President Trump. The indictment puts the DOJ in a politically tense case tonight as Trump campaigns for the Republican presidential nomination. Fox 61's Jake Garcia joining us in studio tonight. Jake, how exactly are people reacting to this news today?
Well, the reaction comes as a mixed bag. It depends on who you ask, Ben. And the reaction from former President Trump is dependent on that. While some say it's just a matter of time, and others say it's an attempt to keep him from getting elected. But people on both sides of the aisle say they saw this coming.
I'm an innocent man. We will prove that again.
Former President Trump maintaining his innocence after an indictment on 37 federal charges by a grand jury of his peers in Florida was unsealed Friday. Here in Connecticut, some of our local leaders are reacting. Senator Richard Blumenthal telling Fox 61 no one is above the law.
No matter how powerful the person or what their activity, they have to obey the law. No one is above the law. And the justice system has to pursue violations of law no matter how powerful the person and no matter what the position may be.
Former Republican candidate for governor Joseph Visconti says he was not surprised by the indictment, but believes the former president did not break the law.
He assumed with intent that everything was declassified that he brought back to Mar-a-Lago.
Senator Blumenthal says that Donald Trump should be treated like any other criminal defendant in the country.
He's entitled to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and he will have the rights of any criminal defendant in a court of law.
Visconti says he and other Republicans believe the system is unfair and are preparing for the outcome should Donald Trump be sentenced to prison if found guilty.
He may end up in prison, and we're prepared for that. We'll run his campaign while he's in prison. He will be elected if he's in prison. He will be sworn in as the next president of the United States in prison, and he will pardon himself in prison.
Now, Trump is expected to appear in a Miami court Tuesday at 3 p.m. In studio, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Jake, thank you. This case is just one legal battle of many the former president's facing. In March, he was criminally charged in New York City on 34 counts of falsifying records and bribing adult film star Stormy Daniels with hush money. He's pleaded not guilty to all of them. Then in May, the former president was found to be liable of sexual abuse in a civil case. Columnist E. Jean Carroll was bringing that against him. He's appealing that verdict. Trump is also facing another DOJ investigation for his role in the January 6th insurrection. In Georgia, he's facing a similar investigation into his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Connecticut's news station is all over Trump's federal case. We'll have the entire indictment for you to read on fox61.com and on our free Fox 61 News app. It's up there now. Well, meanwhile, we are following breaking news here at home from New Haven tonight, where the city just announced that they have settled the civil lawsuit filed by the family of Randy Cox, the man who was paralyzed after he was severely injured while in police custody. The city of New Haven announced that it'll pay $45 million to resolve all claims in this case. Last year, Cox was restrained in the back of a New Haven police van that did not have seatbelts. Police video footage shows the van made a sudden stop, causing Cox to hit the back of the van, leaving him paralyzed. 5 officers in total were criminally charged in the case. This settlement tonight comes just days after 2 of the 5 officers were fired from the New Haven Police Department. 2 others are still awaiting further disciplinary proceedings. The 5th officer has since retired and cannot be disciplined. Let's get to the weather watch here just after 10 o'clock. Meteorologist Ryan Breton joining us now. Ryan, I think we can all feel a bit relieved that we can finally breathe tonight after all that smoke and haze is now out of the state.
Absolutely. Yeah, open up the windows tonight, Ben, and we'll have bright sunshine coming up this weekend. This afternoon, though, we had some thunderstorms pop up in a few towns with actually some small hail. This is from Shelton, for example. And tonight, there are still some showers, but they are beginning to diminish in intensity. And overall, this activity is coming to an end. But there still is one shower with a little bit of thunder and lightning around Norwalk and Westport, a shower with a brief downpour coming into New Haven and North Haven right now. And then in eastern Connecticut, a couple of more to go. One coming through East Hampton, headed into Columbia as well with a brief downpour, and another shower headed out of eastern Connecticut into western Rhode Island. The rest of the night, it will be cool. By tomorrow morning, temperatures down into the upper 40s in many outlying towns, lower 50s near and along the shoreline and in some of the cities. A brighter day tomorrow, mostly sunny for a while in the morning, then a mix of sunshine and clouds during the afternoon. A brighter day coming up tomorrow and also a drier day. Temperatures will start the day on the cool side in the 50s. So out for a walk or run early on, it will be quite comfortable. And then afternoon highs back up into the mid 70s in most spots tomorrow. It turns warmer for Sunday. Then there's some rain on the way early next week. I'll be back to talk about it all ahead. Ben?
See you shortly, Ryan. Thank you. We'll do at 10 tonight. The upper Midwest and Ohio Valley are seeing the worst of the Canadian wildfire smoke here in the U.S. tonight. This comes after days of the haze blanketed the state of Connecticut and many parts of the East Coast. School in New York City and Philadelphia held remote classes today as smoky conditions and bad air quality lingered in those major cities. As Canadian leaders are now fearing the country's worst wildfire season on record, experts say fires could also be an issue in the U.S. this summer.
This is just a precursor. We've had a very, very wet winter in the West, and I expect that we're going to have a very, very significant fire season.
Nearly 100 wildfires continue to burn up in Quebec, where at least 20,000 people have been forced to evacuate. The air quality has improved here in Connecticut, you've all noticed, from that thick haze we had Tuesday and Wednesday this week. And as we head into the weekend now, state health officials are still warning that some people should be careful outside. Fox 61's Gabby Molina joining us live in West Hartford tonight. Gabby, who exactly should still be concerned?
Well, Ben, experts say that everybody should be not concerned, but still be aware of what the air quality is going to be this weekend because things can change. So today it brought much clearer skies, even a little bit of rain, which was welcome. And this weekend is finally expected to be warm. But like I mentioned, things can change. So experts say keeping an eye on the air quality is going to be important. A breath of fresh air and much less hazy skies heading into the weekend. A stark difference from earlier in the week when smoke from the wildfires in Canada filled the air.
When I looked outside, it was like foggy. Then my coworker told me it smelled like a fire outside, and that's when I caught on to the whole situation.
While the air quality has improved here in Connecticut, the wildfires continue to burn, which is why experts say it's still something to stay aware of.
As the winds shift, we don't know what will happen, and I think it's trying to remind people that we need to continue to be watching and not just assume, oh, it's clear now, it's going to stay clear.
Friday, the Department of Public Health released new guidelines for outdoor activities. Officials encourage people to check for updates on air quality conditions throughout the weekend.
You should always check the air quality index. So the air quality index is just a really user-friendly metric.
DPH says if you're spending time outdoors, try to do so when the air quality is better, in the early morning or late evening. And consider wearing a mask when conditions move into the unhealthy range, especially those with conditions that might make them more vulnerable.
Anybody with sort of respiratory conditions, so if you have asthma or COPD, definitely being concerned about this, but also cardiovascular concerns. And children, especially children with asthma or any elderly individuals who might have any difficulty breathing.
UConn Health gave away more than 100 DIY air filters Thursday and Friday to help people protect themselves while indoors.
To get the clean air. I want the clean air. I need it because I have allergies, so this would be perfect.
After several days of colder temperatures combined with the wildfire smoke, people say they're ready to breathe a little easier this weekend.
Yeah, I've been inside all week working. I'm ready to be outside all weekend.
And for more information on how to check the air quality near you this weekend, head to our website, fox61.com. Live in West Hartford, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Gabby, thank you. Well, President Biden's planning a trip to Connecticut next week. Biden administration officials say the president's coming to Connecticut next Friday. We're still waiting to hear some details about where exactly in the state the president will be heading and for the reason for his visit. The president came last to Connecticut back in October of 2021. He visited the Capital Child Development Center in Hartford. The president also went to stores for the dedication of the Dodge Center for Human Rights at UConn. Well, new at 10 tonight, the Department of Justice indicts 5 men, including 2 in Connecticut, accused of operating an illegal gun ring. 44-year-old Luis Perez of Waterbury and 40-year-old Aligi Diaz of Hartford are now facing charges. 2 other men from Kansas and 1 from California were also charged. Prosecutors say the group bought guns in Kansas and sold illegally those guns through Connecticut and California. Perez and Diaz pleaded not guilty.